Oh. Alright, let's get this set up. Mm. Okay. Alright, cool. Alright. We are live. What's up, guys? So today we're going to be talking about GameStop, Wall Street bets, some of the stuff with Dogecoin, and a couple gun laws that probably should be talked about. But first and foremost, let's talk about all this GameStop stuff that's going on right now. So right now we've got some pretty interesting stuff going on. Um, if you go onto Reddit, which is where Wall Street Bets is, for those of you who don't know, Wall Street Bets is the Reddit group that started the whole GameStop uh, rebellion or war, if you want to say. If you go to Reddit right now and you hit all, which is the entire website, right? The top post is, oh my god, the top post is by a guy called Deep Effing Value, right? This guy is the guy who, months before the whole GameStop thing happened, he was the one telling everybody what was going to happen. He's the one that kind of started it, right? He's the top post on the entire website. And as you can see in his posts, he has lost $13 million and his portfolio is worth $22 million, right? Now you might be wondering to yourself, why didn't he sell yet? Why did he keep holding if he lost that much money? Well, it's quite simple. The short squeeze hasn't happened yet. There is still much, much more money to be gained, right? So, pretty much, this was expected. As you can see, here's my personal portfolio on this. Um, you can see. Let's see. Let's go to a week. So you can see all the way on the 28th, GameStop was up to $468 per share, right? And it dropped from that in about one day down to 130 or 126 something a share, right? Well, then it went back up to about 2, then it went up to about 3, kind of stayed at 3. And over the last 2 or 3 days, it's kind of slowly gone down. And now it's sitting at about $93 a share, right? And some of you are probably asking me, well, when it was up at 400 something dollars a share, why wouldn't you have sold? You own five and a half shares. Well, first of all, I actually owned only 3.5 shares at that point because Robinhood blocked buying shares because Robinhood is corrupt and owned, or not owned, but one of their largest customers is a subsidiary, or actually, I'm sorry, it's the parent company of Melvin, which is the hedge fund that is being hurt by this. So, when 40% of your revenue comes from the company who would be hurt by this, obviously you're going to do what daddy wants. But anyway, so you might be asking me, well, why wouldn't you have sold when it was at 400 something? Because even if you had 3, that's close to $1,500 of profit. Well, because I don't want $1,500 of profit, I want 10 grand plus. And this slow downward trend is because of the fact that nobody's trading. Most people are holding. Hell, I bought more instead of selling. I bought more. I sold my Dogecoin and bought more. And we'll get into the whole Dogecoin thing in a second. But that is something completely different that we need to talk about. So I sold it, or I didn't sell it. I bought more because this is going to go up. Yeah, the past week it's down $260, but they're gonna have to start covering their positions. And if you look at the amount of stocks that are being traded, it's not that much. The volume is almost nothing compared to 2 weeks ago. So these companies, the reason that this is in a decline is because if you watch my last live stream, I explained this also, but I'll go over it again. There's this thing called a ladder attack, right? And what it is these hedge funds, one hedge fund will say, well, the price is $250 right now. We're gonna trade it for 248 to this hedge fund. And this hedge fund colludes with this hedge fund and goes, well, we'll trade it for 240. And then this hedge fund does 230, and they just walk it all the way down, price after price drop going down, trading back and forth between themselves to trick the algorithm for the stockbrokers to say that the price is going down. So that way the price drops like this. People like me that their portfolio is not that big and they're not super experienced stock traders, they're retail investors, they get scared and they sell. See, if I would have sold uh, right now, I'd be out $250. But if I hold it, I'll make that money back when the short squeeze happens, right? So they're trying to get you to sell because they need more stocks than actually exist to cover their positions. So they're trying to minimize the amount of damage that they're going to take by buying as much as they can. So the only way for you to lose money is if you sell your stocks. If you just hold them, yeah, your portfolio is going to go into the red, but don't freak out because that is by design right now. The downward trend is by design. If you hold, eventually you're going to make money, right? Now, don't take my word for it because I could always be wrong. But the data, the statistics, and everything that we're seeing currently points towards a very long, not very long, but probably like a week-long downward trend. It might even go down to like $40. It may get that low too. And then a very short but fast upward trend, exponentially larger than even, what was it? The highest it went, which I think was, what? Up 2,000% or something like that. So, you know, that's why I'm saying if you want to make money off of this, you stay in. Me, it's not 100% about the money for me personally. For me, it's kind of a mix between the money and screwing over these people. Because these billionaires that have been lying and cheating and screwing over people, shorting companies and artificially lowering the price of their stock, causing them to go bankrupt, or at least playing a contributing factor in the bankruptcy or the failure of the business. Um, they lost, I think, what was it, last week? They lost $70 billion. $70 billion, right? Um, so it's pretty interesting that they lost 70 billion, but Melvin is only worth, I believe, 120 billion, and the estimates that I've seen are saying that they could lose upwards of 150 billion dollars. That's more than they're even worth. So they could go completely out of business if this goes in the favor of retail investors, or in other words, normal people like you and me. Do you see why now they're pulling every shady tactic, every illegal tactic in the book to try and get this, uh, to try and like mitigate their losses? That's why they're doing it the way they're doing it. That's why you have the ladder attacks. That's why you've had. Oh my God. Okay, so the media's in on it too, and it's actually kind of funny now because we conservatives, we libertarians, anybody who's right of center has been saying for years now, but especially in the last year, we've been saying that the media is corrupt, that the media won't tell you the truth, that they're lying to you. And now leftists and liberals are seeing it because leftists and liberals invest in the stock market. They like money too. And they're seeing that these corporate crony establishment elites are making illegal moves, shady business deals behind closed doors that are quite obvious when you look at them, and that the media is on their side. Do you know how I know this? Because for the last, I think it's been 2 days now. Monday it really started, but today was kind of heavy. If you turned on the TV and you watched anything on CNBC, CNN, or any of the other news networks that are covering the stock market, the first thing you would see is them saying that Redditors have changed their attention to buying silver or SLR or SLV. I don't remember what the ticker is, but it's a silver company, right? They're saying, oh well, they're the Redditors have started buying this. It's a lie, because when you go to Wall Street Bets, the first thing that they say is, no, we're not buying that. And I find it funny because Wall Street Bets is one of the top communities right now. If you go into Wall Street Bets, right, you'll see that they are saying don't buy silver. Let me see if it. Let me see if I can find and it's full of memes and stuff. So it's funny. Let's see. Mark Cuban is in favor of the Wall Street Bets guys, but no. Let's see. I'm trying to find some of the posts that said don't buy silver. They were probably earlier today, but um, but like I said, okay. So here's one about the ladder attack. Massive ladder attack going on. Do not sell. I repeat, do not sell. They're not allowing us to buy that so that they continue pressuring the price down. This is their last attempt to get out of this. Hold the line, right? Um, all these people are posting that they're losing money just like me. I mean, I just in the last since I started this stream, I've lost another $3 or $4 on GameStop, right? But I'm not going to sell. I'm going to hold just like everybody else because I know that the price is going to go up. But normal people would be scared off by that, right? Let's see. I can't find it, but I'll keep scrolling. But I'll tell you what I was trying to say. Oh, okay. So it says Goldman says it would be impossible for retail traders to short squeeze silver. And then the post says, looks like it wouldn't be possible to do the thing no one is trying to do. Imagine that. Yeah, because like I said, all the news outlets were saying, "Oh, GameStop is tanking," and people were selling off. Regular people who just got into it because of the hype, they were selling off because, "Oh my God, we're freaking out. The news is saying this," and it's like it's. I mean, yeah. But if you follow the Wall Street Bets, we said that this was going to happen. We specifically said you're going to see a huge, and I mean huge dip. It's going to be a huge dip. Okay, it's going to be a huge dip that almost wiped out all your gains and probably more than likely was going to put you in the negative by a lot of money. And then after that, over the period of a certain amount of time, or all at once on one day, depends when the shorts have to cover, boom, all the way to the moon, right? But they're using these devices, the media, I mean, who's working with these crony establishment elites, they were working together to try and peel off people from GameStop. right? They were trying to scare retail investors, trying to get people into other things like Dogecoin and silver. Because here's the thing, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Dogecoin, what do you mean? It's a cryptocurrency. It's outside of the stock trading and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with stock." No, Dogecoin has no utility. There's nothing that Dogecoin can be used for. I mean, yes, they're trying to push Dogecoin into a direction where it can be used for things, but unlike Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all that stuff, Dogecoin doesn't actually have a use, right? It's a pseudo coin. It was made as a joke, and at this point, essentially, there's an infinite amount of them. What I mean by that is Bitcoin, I believe, only has 21 million coins or something like that, whereas Dogecoin has like 127 billion coins or something like that. Um, it's like 1,000 times more, and they can keep being made because there's not really a cap on them. So how exactly, if something is super common, do you make it worth something? Right? And the only reason that it spiked was because of this fake hype that came up right around the time that GameStop was being hyped up, right? Now that seems a little coincidental, and then when Dogecoin didn't really kind of work out, then you have this silver thing that comes up, right? And the media was lying. And I don't know if it's just ignorance or just laziness or if they're outright lying, because all it would take for CNN, if they were real journalists, to do, all it would take for them to figure out that this was not true was a 5-second Google search for Reddit, and then going onto the Wall Street Bets page and just hitting refresh and seeing all the things about don't buy silver, right? I'm willing to bet it's more they're lying than anything, because we've seen them lie countless other times. So I really don't feel a reason to give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. So, that's just me. But, go figure. Um, Now, Elon Musk tweeted something out about Dogecoin, and I think it's just because he likes to see what happens when he says things. Just saying. Um, but right here, you see, what's happening right now is not a sell-off, but Melvin wants to trigger one. That's all of the stuff that's been happening, okay? Now, Dogecoin, guys. Okay, if you guys have invested in Dogecoin, I would highly advise you to do one thing for me. If for whatever reason you invested on Robinhood, that's a bad idea. Okay, and you see, I'm still losing money on GameStop. Woo! Keep it strong, right? um, so like I said, if you've invested in Dogecoin, here's a tip. Okay, don't do it on Robinhood. Now, you might be asking, well, why? Why not Robinhood when, I invest already in Robinhood? I already have stocks there. Why would I not want to invest there and invest instead, say, on like Coinbase or Binance or something? Well, here's the reason. So, Robinhood doesn't actually trade the Dogecoin, um, and you own it. You don't actually own the Dogecoin, um, because the way that cryptocurrencies normally work, right, is when you buy the coin, if you're buying it from a platform like Binance, Coinbase, whatever, you can leave it on their platform, or you can pay a very minute fee to move it from their platform into your own personal wallet, which is just a program that's run on your computer, that is saved to your local hard drive or on your cloud or network or whatever you choose, whatever type of wallet you choose to put your coins into. When you move them and you put them into your wallet to hold, it's kind of like Binance is like a bank, Yes, you technically own your money that's in the bank, but until you take the money out, you're not actually holding the money. So if the bank goes out of business or they just decide they don't want to give you the money, how are you going to acquire it? It's the same thing, right? So that's it's kind of like, the difference between putting your money in a bank or, stuffing it under your mattress. That's kind of the difference, right? So what you want to do is, if you are going to buy Dogecoin, for whatever fucking reason you're going to fucking buy Dogecoin. I mean, don't get me wrong, I invested in it too, but I sold probably like 2/3 of what I had, uh, because I wanted to put that money into GameStop. But if you're gonna, because you believe in Dogecoin for whatever reason, and this goes for any cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, any of those coins, don't buy it on Robinhood, because you can't transfer your coins off Robinhood, right? Now, another reason that Dogecoin was not going up in price is because people were buying a lot of it on Robinhood, because that's one of the most popular apps to use. The thing about it, though, is Robinhood buys the coins and then holds them, right? So when you purchase coins, you're actually not buying it from the marketplace. You're buying it from Robinhood. You see, Robinhood, say Robinhood buys 1,000,000 coins, right? Now Robinhood owns 1,000,000 coins. Now say 500,000 coins are bought by various people, right? Well, you're not actually buying an additional 500,000 from the marketplace, making Robinhood own 1.5 million. No, no, no. You're buying 500,000 from the 1 million that Robinhood owns. But you're not actually able to transfer it to your personal wallet or somewhere else. You have to just leave it on Robinhood. So if Robinhood decides to limit your trades, making it so you can't sell or you can't buy anymore, and you can't take your coins off of Robinhood and send it to Binance or to Coinbase, right? To sell them. And you can't send it directly to somebody else either for payments. Literally, all you can do is purchase and sell it from Robinhood. That defeats the entire purpose of the utility of buying cryptocurrencies. So, don't buy them on Robinhood. It's as simple as that, because you're not buying them from the market. But that also causes something else. It means that, say Robinhood buys, I don't know, like 500 million Dogecoin, right? And a bunch of people are told to go buy Dogecoin. And it's like, oh my God, let's go buy Dogecoin, right? With only 400 million of those coins get bought out, you're still purchasing it from Robinhood, and then people get frustrated because the price of the coin is not changing, because you're not actually buying it from the market, which would increase the price. You're only buying it from Robinhood, which doesn't affect the price at all. You see? So people have been buying it, and the initial spike, I believe, was because people were buying it from like Binance or other cryptocurrency trading sites, and then people start buying it from Robinhood. And then when people start buying it from Robinhood, well, nobody's buying it from these other sites anymore, so then it crashed. People who bought in at like 7 or 8 cents, it's sitting at 3 cents now. You just lost a bunch of money. Now, luckily, I bought it when it was like less than a cent. So regardless of where it went, I made money, and then I sold some of it to buy GameStop. But if I had wanted to say convert my Dogecoin to Bitcoin, or send a Bitcoin, or sorry, a Dogecoin transfer to my brother in Florida or whatever, and send it to him as like a birthday present so he could cash out, I can't do that if I do it through Robinhood. So whatever you do, I would highly advise against buying coins through Robinhood, right? Buy it through a different one. Yeah, Coinbase takes a fee or whatever, but quite honestly, I've more than made up for it with Coinbase, because, or even use Bittrex too. Or yeah, you see Bittrex up here. You've got GDAX, Coinbase. I use those to trade. Now, I actually like Coinbase quite a bit, simply because if you use their mobile app and you sign up for emails and stuff, they'll actually send you promotions to earn coins by whenever a new coin is introduced onto the thing. And the makers of the coin want to get people interested in it. What they'll do is they'll make some deal with Coinbase, and Coinbase will send you an email, and they'll say, "Hey, watch this video, take a short, like 1 or 2 minute, 1 or 2 question questionnaire, and then you earn some coins." And then you have like 3 or 4 training videos, and then it'll be like, share this and invite people to Coinbase, and then you get more coins, right? So I currently have earned, I think it's like $40 worth of various coins, and now all of those coins are worth about $75 or $80. So I've doubled. Like, I earned most of these coins over a year ago, and now my profit has almost doubled. And literally, I didn't even really pay attention to the videos because most of these coins work similar, and all you have to do is kind of listen to key things about it. But like, the video is like 2 minutes. So in like 10 minutes, you can earn like $10 in like free cryptocurrency. Like, now that's only if you're somebody who has been using it for a while. You sign up for the emails and all that stuff. But that's kind of why I like Coinbase. But that's another thing is the U.S. dollar, in my opinion, is becoming very unstable, and because of that, you have to look into alternate ways to do business, to pay for things, stuff like that. So, like, let's just open Coinbase real quick, and we'll take a look. Oops, my bad. Oh, I don't know if it will actually do that, but we'll see. Am I still live? I feel like I'm still live. I think I'm still live. I accidentally clicked off of YouTube, which was my bad. Okay, so I guess I'm still live. Okay, cool. Yeah, I messed up for a second. My bad. Okay, so we are back. That was my bad. Okay, sorry about that. I clicked off YouTube because I forgot that I was currently on YouTube at the moment. So anyway, so let's go to, this is Coinbase. This is one of the things that I personally trade on. And you can see that, you've got, am I signed in? No, I'm not. Okay, cool. So you can see right here it says earn crypto, right? So that's one of the cool things about it. You can click on this and it'll say start earning, and you see start course earn $3, start course earn $3, start course earn $6, start course earn 9, start course earn 10. Then you've got a couple of these ones you can't earn anymore as far as I know because they were limited. Um, well, I mean, maybe, because it still says it looks like you can, but I think Coinbase gets a certain amount that they're allowed to give away, and then that's what happens. But then there's the get $40, which is I think if you invite somebody. But like if you look at the prices, um, all assets. I mean, you have tons of cryptocurrencies here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, XRP, Polkadot, Chainlink, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Binance Coin. And so what I was saying was that one of the reasons that I say that the dollar is becoming increasingly unstable is because there's a chart that shows it, and I'm not going to go look for it, but I'm sure you could probably find it. The 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 coin, or sorry, not the coin, the dollar has been massively inflating over the last year. And we haven't seen it yet, and it's because, it hasn't reached that critical mass yet. But it's coming. Because I think it's like between 40 and 45% of all the dollars ever produced in the United States were created this year alone. 45% of all dollars in existence were made this year. That is insane. That's patently insane. Like, how do they expect for inflation not to occur if you just keep printing money? Like, now that's why I say you should start investing in precious metals, in real assets like land, in cryptocurrencies. Now, people are hesitant about cryptocurrencies because they don't know anything about it. That's why you got to learn about it, right? That's why you got to learn about it. You have to, invest in these things and make sure that you move the cryptocurrency into your personal wallet, your personal cloud, your personal whatever, so that way you actually own the coin, you own the asset. So that way, if the dollar fails, right, and you don't have precious metals, but let's say you have Bitcoin or you have Litecoin or whatever, something else that is able to be traded, you can use that as a currency. Now, I'm not saying that that would be the thing that they go to, but there's like 100,000 businesses or so now that do indeed use like Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum to, and they accept that as payment. So there are some places that do, and I'm willing to bet that a lot more places will start to adopt it the farther that the dollar goes into the freaking shitter. So, in my opinion, I think it's good to start diversifying your portfolio into multiple different other assets aside from the dollar, which really isn't backed up by anything except our military and oil. And we all know that, oil is kind of going out the door with Biden as president, so that leaves the military. And at some point, somebody may or may not want to test that. Okay? So I would say just land is probably the best bet, but other assets like cryptocurrency, in my opinion. Okay? So now, I sold some of my Dogecoin to buy GameStop and AMC, and that's because next week, I believe it is, right about 1 or 2 weeks, give or take, is probably how long this fight is going to continue on. A lot of people thought it was going to be last week. A lot of people thought it was going to be this week. But this is something that could go on for quite a while if these hedge funds keep fighting it. If they just accept their fate, yeah, it would be over in a couple days. But they're not going to because they don't want to lose billions of dollars any more than they already have. So, if you want to get into GameStop, I would say now is a great time because, I bought stock at $60. I bought it at $110. I bought two shares at like 300 something dollars, right? So, it's down to what is it? $93 now? Yeah, it's down to like $93 today. Now, obviously, it's after hours, so you can't actually purchase anything right now. But you can put in an order to buy in the morning, or you can wake up early in the morning and purchase it then. I would very much say do not use Robinhood. The only reason I'm still on Robinhood is because um, if I was to try and trade all of my holdings to like Webull, for example, which is another one that I use, it's another app. I like Webull a lot. Um, I'm probably gonna trade. I'm probably gonna transfer all my assets over there when I can. The reason that I don't do it now is because I don't know when the squeeze is gonna happen with GameStop and AMC, and I don't want my account to my shares and everything to be tied up for 14 days in transit, and it happened in the middle of that, and then I lose out on money, never for this to ever happen again, right? So I personally don't want that to happen. So I'm gonna wait until all this, happens and I make money and all that stuff, and then I'm gonna transfer my portfolio over to like Webull or Fidelity or something else. One of the places that didn't stop trading, that didn't cave in to the elites. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do at some point. Now, hopefully at that point, whenever I no, I'm not a millionaire yet. I really want to be, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I only own like, what is this, 5.5 shares, and even if they went up to 100,000 a share, which that's really, I think that's stretching it. I'd still only have $500,000, but I think the best estimate is like between 5 and 10 grand each. So I can make like $55,000, sure, but we'll have to see. Um, so what was I saying? But so I'm not gonna transfer my stuff over yet. I'm probably gonna transfer it to Webull just because Webull is a very easy to use um, alternative to Robinhood. Like, there's an app on your phone that you can use. You don't have to um, go on the computer, kind of like I think Fidelity has a way that you can do it through their app, but it's very confusing, and I don't feel like dealing with that, and I don't want to go on the computer because I don't always have my computer. Webull is a more complex version of Robinhood, but I like it more simply because I can comment under stocks. It's kind of an all-inclusive thing. Like, it'll have news stories, it'll have comments that you can make underneath it. It tells you more statistics. Robinhood is a very simplistic version of Webull. I prefer Webull. Like I said, the only reason I'm still in Robinhood is because I don't want to deal with the whole my stuff's in transit and then I can't sell it and then I'm screwed out of thousands of dollars. So that's why. So now we'll go to see. Let me refresh Wall Street Bets and see if there's anything new on Wall Street Bets. Probably because they don't ever stop fucking posting. Um, Oh, hey, look, Mark Cuban's on here. Look at that, billionaire. He's sitting here telling us what to do or giving us advice. It's cool. I read some of his stuff, and he's basically like, "Hey, listen, if you believe in the actual asset that you're investing in, and it does something unpredictable, that's really the only time something you didn't think would happen. That's really the only time that you should kind of think about selling or anything like that." But GameStop and AMC are doing the exact same thing, the exact thing that we thought was going to happen, right? So whatever. So now I want to kind of transition over from all this stock crap into something else that's a little bit more serious. It's not as fun, but it's something that we need to talk about, right? So we have some bad gun laws that have been introduced. Now, let me just close a couple of these things because we don't need all this crap up here. So we have a couple bad gun laws, but one in particular is extremely bad, right? And that is HR 127, the Firearm Licensing and Registration Act. This is monumentally terrible. And quite honestly, in my opinion, I think this is not going to pass because there are moderate Democrats that would not dream of this because it is so outlandishly fucking retarded. And my stream may get taken down because I cuss. I don't care. I can post this on something else later. But I'm not monetized right now, so I probably won't get taken out. If I was monetized, I'd definitely get demonetized, but I'm not monetized now. Speaking of monetization, if any of you guys that are watching, I don't even know really how many of you are watching. If any of you guys want to donate, because my videos aren't monetized at the moment, if you'd like to donate, you can donate at send money to my Cash App if you feel so inclined. It's the same name as my YouTube channel. It's BioPilot17. I don't really care one way or another. It's just it would help me out to be able to do this a little more often if you like my content. Anyway, back to this. So the Firearm Licensing and Registration Act. Now this is a insane asinine bill that was actually introduced in 29 or sorry, not 2019, last session, whenever that was. And it was actually I think it was like HR 4068, I think it was originally. Now it's HR 127. So it was actually killed, I believe, in committee last time too. But now that the Democrats essentially control Congress and the Senate, and the tiebreaker is Kamala Harris, there's a better possibility that something like this could pass. However, I don't think that this particular bill is meant to pass. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, I think that this particular bill is a red herring. It's meant for us to go, oh my God, what is going on in this bill? Let's see what's going on. And completely and target this one specifically because of all the bad things in it, while other ones get passed that are less bad. And then Republicans cave like they always do because they're spineless, and then they turn to their constituency and go, well, but we stopped the big bad one, so you should be grateful that all you had to do was universal background checks and no more private sales. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't want those either. So this is the one that I'm focused on right now, but I think you should focus on other ones too. Now, parts of this particular bill are in other bills. So let's kind of go through some of it and see what it kind of says. I'll paraphrase some of it and put it in layman's terms. Um, so, licensing of firearm and ammunition possession, registration of firearms. So, this bill wants you to register not only your firearms and not only your semi-automatic firearms, but all of your firearms, including your ammunition. I don't know how they would do that, because is there going to be a fucking serial number on every single bullet? Like, uh are they going to do that? Like, I don't understand why they would do that. Um you got any info on the new 2021 Hearing and Protection Act? Oh, is that the one for the for the suppressors? No, but I can look that one up, and see what what we can find out about that. But let me finish the HR 127 one first, because this one's a fucking doozy. So, let's see. Required information. Under the firearm registration system, the owner of a firearm, like I said, it's all of them, all firearms, shall transmit to the Bureau, the ATF essentially, the make, model, serial number of the firearm, the identity of the owner of the firearm, the date the firearm was acquired by the owner. Okay, guys, I don't know about you, but I don't fucking remember when I bought all my firearms. Okay, I have quite a few of them. I don't recall when I bought them all. So that one will already get quite a bit of people in trouble. And where the firearm is or will be stored. And B, a notice specifying the identity of any person to whom and any period of time during which the firearm will be loaned to the person. So, what that means is, essentially, you would have to tell them every firearm you own, when you bought it. God knows if you remember that information. You'd have to do all the serial numbers. You have to say when and where it's going to be stored, like legitimately, like where in your house, because the stupid form that they want you to fill out is 13 fucking pages long, and some of the questions on there are like, where is it going to be stored? Is it going to be stored in a safe, and in what part of your house, and all this crap? Then it says a notice specifying the identity of any person to whom and a period of time during which the firearm will be loaned to the person. So, if you wanted to, say, go to a gun range with your buddy, right? And you're going to go shooting with your buddy, and he's going to touch your gun at all, you would have to send a letter to the fucking ATF asking the fucking Führer for permission and telling them how long and when your buddy is going to be fondling your AR. Like, government can barely get me in and out of the DMV for a simple change of address on my driver's license. You really think that if I just decide to go to the range this weekend with a buddy of mine, that I'm gonna be able to freaking certify next day air some mail to the ATF and they're gonna get back to me in one day for me to be able to go? No, they're not. Of course not. This is completely unconstitutional, inconvenient, and downright stupid. So and we're not even like what 1/10 of the way through this bill, and I'm already getting heated. Oh man! All right. So anyway, let's continue on. Deadline for supplying information. Uh, so in the case of a firearm acquired before the effective date, you have 3 months to give them your information. Or B, in the case of a firearm acquired on or after the effective date, you have to give that information right away. So if you own like a dozen ARs right now, right? You have 3 months to go ahead and get all that information. Apparently, become a psychic and know when exactly you're going to want other people to borrow or send your firearm with them to the range or share firearms, and then send those preemptively because the ATF is going to take months to get back to you. So, this bill essentially requires you to also be psychic. Um, and then any new firearm you purchase, before you can take it home, I would assume you would have to send all of that information to the ATF and get approval, right? So this is a terrible bill. Oh God. So the Attorney General shall establish and maintain a database of all firearms registered pursuant to this subsection. Okay, we already know there's already a law, and I don't remember if it's part of a constitutional amendment or if it's just a bill. I think it's part of FOPA, the Firearm Owners Protection Act. I think it's part of that prohibits the ATF from having or prohibits the federal government from having a national database, but this would basically establish one. So this is already an unconstitutional bill as it is, but as we know, the Democrats do not give a shit about things that are unconstitutional. They'll do it anyway. So the Attorney General shall be the one that maintains this database. The Attorney General shall make the contents of the database accessible to all members of the public, all federal, state, and local law enforcement authorities, all branches of the United States Armed Forces, and all state and local governments as defined by the Bureau. Did you hear that? The public, the general public, gets to know how many, what kind, and where in your house your guns are. Does that make any goddamn sense? Because all it takes is a criminal going, oh, you know what? I want to rob that house. Let me just type on the computer here, and oh, he's got. Oh wow, this is gonna be a great day to rob. I mean, he's got 15 rifles in a what kind of make and model safe was it? Oh, okay, it's a XYZ safe. Oh, okay. Well, now since we know this information, we can figure out how to get into that safe really, really fast and, go in and steal it when we've watched and seen his schedule for a couple days and now we can just steal his shit. This is going to make stealing stuff so easy. It's going to blow your mind how many firearms owners are going to be robbed if this happens. Because if this registrar is open, not only is it open to the public and that would increase the likelihood that your house gets broken into and your whole gun safe gets stolen, but it also increases the likelihood that you get harassed by anti-gun leftists, by somebody who doesn't like you for your viewpoints, because perceivably conservatives are the one. Even if you're like just a libertarian, kind of like me, if you like guns at all, nope, you're conservative. You're hard right. You're alt right. Blah blah blah. Right. So this would just make you a target. It would make you a target to criminals. It would make you a target to leftists to activists to people who want to just annoy you, and all of your, simply because you own a gun, now all your info, your name, your address, everything is made public in this one document, one database. How? Please tell me how this ended up in a bill. I don't understand, because it's blatantly unconstitutional, and yet somehow. Now these couple things that I've been talking about that I've been kind of upset about, these are the reasons I don't think it will pass, because there are far more moderate Democrats than I think most people think that there are. But I do think those moderate Democrats will be willing to pass other minor gun control measures. So we'll have to see what happens, right? Here's a fucking fun one. Requirements: general license. Except as otherwise provided in this subsection, the Attorney General shall issue to an individual license a firearm and issue an individual a license to possess a firearm and ammunition if the individual is, one, has attained 21 years of age. So all of you people that turn 18, that become an adult, nah, you can go fight for our country and die, but you can't drink, which I disagree with. You can't smoke, and now you wouldn't be able to even buy a long rifle, because as it stands now, you can't buy a handgun, right? But you can still buy a long rifle or a shotgun or something like that, and you can actually still possess a handgun. You just can't buy it. So if it's gifted to you, or if you inherit it, you can still. But under this, nope. The government says a big F you to you. You can't own any type of firearm. You can go die for our country because we want oil and we want to get into unnecessary wars, or we want to have you, guard the White House with a unloaded rifle, and when an Antifa member cracks you over the head and kills you, well, that sucks, but you're not allowed to own a gun if you're in your civilian everyday life. Yeah, okay. Then after applying for the license, you have to undergo a criminal background check, which is already a thing. I don't know why they put it in this bill, considering that it's already the law. If things are, I'm so sick and tired. This part doesn't actually apply. What I'm gonna say next doesn't apply to just gun control. It applies to literally every law ever. Why is it that they feel the need to include the same laws that are already on the books in laws that you're writing now? All it does is add paperwork that otherwise doesn't need to be in there. A 5,000 page goddamn bill doesn't need to be 5,000 pages, because these people just rewrite the same bullcrap that is already in another bill that's already been passed, and then they change like 4 paragraphs of it, and that's what's new. Just propose the new stuff. Why you add so much crap to it? Background checks are already a thing, okay? So anyway, background checks, section 103, blah blah blah, undergoes a psychological evaluation. Why? There are people who have disorders that are under control that would necessarily be disqualified from owning a gun through this process, or a quirky or weird individual. And who's going to be giving the psychological evaluation? Because my question is, what happens if it's somebody who is left-leaning, who doesn't like guns, and they decide arbitrarily, well, I don't like you, and I don't like guns, so you don't get one, because I'm in charge of your psychological evaluation, so screw you. So who's giving the test? Because I could I can almost guarantee you conservatives won't be allowed to become the ones that do it. I'm going to get the government and have like governmental, official, psychological, whatever, and that would be you know, the standard procedure. So no, thank you. Look, there are clear signs that somebody is kind of mentally deficient that you can spot, and there are some that aren't. Right? So if somebody goes into a gun shop and the gun shop employees get a weird feeling, they reserve the right, and they almost always do refuse to sell you a gun. Like here in Texas right now, it's perfectly acceptable and legal for me to go sell a gun to somebody, right? As long as I have no reason to believe that they are a felon, I can sell a gun through a private sale. Me personally, I'm responsible and I don't do that. You want to know why? Because I have no way of knowing without paying for a background check myself who that person is. Also, why would I ever want to sell a gun? I mean, what? Come on, let's be real here. I'm not gonna sell a gun. I like guns. Why would I ever sell one? But that's besides the point. um, seriously though, if I was gonna sell a gun personally, I'd probably do an independent background check. The only time I would ever give or sell a gun to somebody is if it was somebody I knew personally, like my best friend or a really good acquaintance that I have known for a long time. That would be the only type of people. I'm not going to go on arms list and sell to a random person because I'm responsible, right? Even with that, if I worked at a gun shop like at the front counter and somebody came in and they looked sketchy, I wouldn't sell them one either because I'm not going to sell to somebody who I personally don't have a good feeling about, right? People think that gun owners are like irresponsible. So it's like honestly, legal gun owners commit less crimes than police officers. Active duty police officers commit more crimes than legal gun owners. That is a fact. That is a statistic. You can look it up. So why is it that we get this bad name for being, it's because they just don't like guns. So when it comes to the psychological evaluation, who's going to do that, right? Um, then, oh, then you have successfully completes a training course certified by the Attorney General in the use, safety, and storage of firearms that includes at least 24 hours of training. Do you know how long, how long 24 hours of training realistically would be? That's like a week or more of training, depending how long the classes are. Because for Texas, I think I took a 6-hour class to get my concealed carry, and a certification, uh, a shooting test. Right, that was already really long, and it took me months to find a class that worked with my schedule. Can you imagine 24 hours of training? You can't do 24 hours all in one go. Minimum, you would have to do 2 sets of 12-hour training, and there is no teacher in the world, there's no person who's going to instruct you for 12 hours. There's no way. I think the max would be 6 hours, which means you'd have to go at least, it would take you, what, 4 classes? And I'm willing to bet that is going to be expensive. Because the government's not paying for that. The government's not paying for any of this. The application for a license, there's probably going to be a fee attached. You got to pay, what, $50 to apply for the license? Then you have to pay whatever the cost is for the psychological evaluation. Then you have to pay for the 24 hours of training. And then demonstrates that on issuance of the license, the individual will have in effect an insurance policy under the subsection. Now you got to pay for insurance too. So all of that is in this one section. That easily is a couple $100 of stuff before you even bought a firearm, before you even received your license. And I think somewhere down here later it says exactly how much the license costs, and it's like $800. So the license itself is like $800 plus all this. You're looking at like what? Easily $1,200 before you even buy the firearm, because you can't buy the firearm till you have the license. So before you even and are able to purchase the firearm. You have to pay $1,200 for all this stupid licensing and training and all that crap, and then you can pay whatever for the gun. And if the other thing that Biden wants to pass, the stupid NFA registration comes in, that with all the tax stamping and crap, then you're gonna have paid like $1,200 to $1,400 for all this crap to then go to buy a fucking shitty ass Taurus that costs $200. But oh wait, comes with 2 standard capacity magazines, what they call high capacity. So you have to pay $200 tax stamp on each of those. So that's an additional $400. Then you have to pay an additional $200 tax stamp on the gun because it's semi-automatic. So that's $600 on plus the $200. So now you have to pay $800 for a $200 gun. And if you want a rifle, it's the same crap. So this one, in conjunction with the stupid NFA, the registration of the other rifles to the NFA, would be catastrophically uh, uh, disastrous for the Second Amendment, but also for poor people. Because guess what? Rich people, no problem. They can do all that. They don't care. This is like pennies to them. So middle class and minorities would be the ones that would be priced out, which is why gun control is racist. It has always been racist. It has always been a way for the upper class rich people to keep minorities oppressed and keep them from having the ability to purchase firearms. The original reason for gun control was so that way slaves that were freed could not arm themselves and go and fight to free their brethren. That was the original intention. Then with the Jim Crow laws, it was to keep free black people from having gun rights and fighting off like racism from the police and the KKK and all that crap. So don't tell me that this is no big deal, because all you're doing is hurting minorities and middle class families. Because the rich people, they don't, I mean, they're going to be the ones that can afford this, but they're not even going to utilize any of this crap because they're just going to hire private security. So all it does is hurt poor people, right? So then, and if you're just an antique firearms person who just likes to put like a firearm up on your wall behind you, oh yeah, you have to get a license too. Attorney General shall issue to an individual a license to display an antique firearm in a residence of the individual if the individual is the holder of a license issued under the last thing, supplies proof that the individual owns an antique firearm, describes the manner in which to fire. So again, you have to tell them how you're going to display the firearm, and demonstrates that the individual has provided for storage of the firearm in a safe or facility approved by the Attorney General for the storage of fire. Okay, please explain that one to me. Don't those two things contradict each other? If you're putting if you're putting you got any AR-14s? Yeah, right. You know, definitely Biden there. But don't those two things kind of contradict each other? Like, if you're going to be displaying the firearm, why would you need a place to provide safe storage for it if it's just up on your wall? Are they actually insinuating that unless you are currently in the room that you are displaying the firearm in, that you have to take it down and store it safely? Like that would be the most retarded thing ever. That would be like me like being like, I have to take the paintings off the wall before I walk out of a room, so that way my cats don't like scratch them up or some shit. Like why would I take something that is a decorative piece off my wall and put it in safe storage when the whole purpose is for it to be on the wall forever? That's the whole purpose. What those two things don't make any sense. And hold on, guys. Let me turn a light on. It's getting a little dark. There we go. Ugh, there we go. You can probably see me better now, right? I mean, not that you guys want to see my ugly ass face, but you know, come on now. So military style weapons license. The Attorney General. So Jesus fucking Christ, I forgot about this part. Jesus. Okay, so. So military style weapons license. So if you want an AR-15, it's not actually included in the general license. The general license apparently is only for like single shot rifles, bolt action, lever action, pump action, and maybe revolvers. But semi-auto anything would be under the military style weapons license. Oh God! So to get the military style weapons license, you have to hold the previous general license, and after applying for a license under this paragraph, successfully complete a training course in the use, safety, and storage of the weapon that includes at least 24 hours of training in live fire. So, first you have to get this bullshit, the general license. You have to do a criminal background check. You have to do a psychological evaluation. You have to complete a 24-hour training course. Then you have to get an insurance policy. Then, before you can get an AR-15, you have to also then apply again for the military style weapons license, do another 24 hours of training and live fire training. So you have to do 48 hours of training to own a gun that just looks different than another gun. And I believe that this is also retroactive, so you would have to do this to keep the shit you already own. So if you already own 15 AR-15s and a couple AKs and whatever that you bought legally, if this goes into effect, guess what you got to do? You have to within 3 months, you have to categorize all of them, serialize all of them, put them all into like a fucking Excel spreadsheet, then take that, send it to the worst organization in the United States, the ATF, and then have them take that and look at it, go, yes, 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 okay, we give you permission, and then send you a letter of permission to fucking own these things, and then you have to go and do all this licensing bullshit. You have to pay the $800 for the fucking general license. You have to go through all the bullshit, paying for all the bullshit as you go to getting all that crap. Then you have to do another license to get the license, I guess, an amendment to your license or a second license. I don't know if it's a second license or just an amendment for the military style ones. And then you have to do another 24 hours of training just to keep the crap you already own. Like, what? Now, that's assuming that I'm missing some type of grandfathering clause in here, which I doubt there is one. But even if there is, like, that's too much, even for people who are just trying to buy a new gun. Okay? So, psychological evaluation. So, the evaluation is conducted in compliance with such standards as shall be established by the Attorney General. There are no standards apparently now, so they're going to establish standards, which I'm very much certain will be something akin to asking why you want the gun, kind of like New York does, and then they just deny you for whatever reason they want. Oh, so what I was saying earlier, yes, I was correct. The evaluation is conducted by a licensed psychologist approved by the Attorney General. So, you can't just go to your own therapist or your own psychologist that you pick. No, 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 no. No, no, no. It has to be a government approved psychologist, which means they're probably going to pick the most anti-gun left-leaning psychologists to deny you. So screw that. As deemed necessary by the licensed psychologist involved, the evaluation included a psychological evaluation of other members of the household in which the individual resides. And as part of the psychological evaluation, the licensed psychologist interviewed any spouse of the individual, any former spouse of the individual, and at least 2 other persons who are a member of the family or an associate of the individual to further determine the state of the mental, emotional, and relational stability of the individual in relation to firearms. Do you know what that means? That means that Anybody who lives in your house will also, just because you want a gun, anybody who lives with you has to go under a psychological evaluation. And they are going to interview your spouse, your exes, and two other people that are your family to try and figure out if you should own a gun. So, what if you have an ex-wife who fucking hates you? You're screwed, buddy. Because now it's up to your ex-wife to tell the psychologist, who's already probably biased, whether or not you get to have your rights. That is disgusting. And I cannot believe that this has even made it into committee. Because from what I understand, I could be wrong, but I believe that it is actually in committee. Like, I don't know how it hasn't been killed yet. This bill is disgusting. Denial of license required. The Attorney General shall deny license to an individual if the individual is prohibited by federal law from possessing a firearm, or the individual has been hospitalized with a mental illness, disturbance, or diagnosis, including depression, homicidal, suicidal, attempted suicide, etc., with the meaning of the Controlled Substances Act, or alcohol, or brain disease, including dementia, Alzheimer's, or, on a side note, Biden says he owns a shotgun. Under this bill, he can't own one because he's got fucking dementia. Anyway, or on account of conduct that endangers self or others. So this also means the individual has been hospitalized. I've seen people under our current system be denied because they have a psychological thing from when they were 17 and were hospitalized for like anxiety or depression, have to go through hoops. This would solidify the fact that if you have ever been hospitalized for anything, ever taken drugs, ever had ever been depressed and gone to your doctor and be like, can I get some antidepressants? I'm feeling down, and gotten past it, anything. No, you don't get a gun. You don't get your rights. You are barred. Could you imagine if this same logic was applied to like any of your other rights? Like, could you imagine if you had to go and pay $800 for a license, then go through a psychological evaluation, and then go through a 24-hour training session to be able to speak your mind and get a license to free speech? Could you imagine? Like, could you imagine if you had to get a license to be secure in your persons and your effects? Like, could you imagine if you had to get a license to just walk down the street? Like, this is ridiculous. Then, it goes on. The Attorney General may deny a license, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it just lists some more crap about chronic mental illness, substance abuse, all that crap. Suspension of a license. License issued under this subsection to an individual who is under indictment for a crime punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year is hereby suspended. So they can authorize their lack of firearm insurance. So if you don't have insurance, like say your check bounces or your auto payment bounces, and they cancel your insurance for your firearm insurance, your license will be revoked. And you have to go through, I assume you would have to go through this whole process again. And I'm willing to bet you probably have to go through this process again whenever your license expires, right? Expiration of license. A license issued to an individual shall expire in the case of a license that has been in effect for less than 5 years, 1 year after issuance or renewal, as the case may be, or in the case of a license that has been in effect for at least 5 years, 3 years after the most recent. Jesus Christ! So, what I'm understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the case of a license that has been in effect for less than 5 years, so does that mean that for the first 5 years that you have this license, you have to fucking renew it every single year? And going through this whole process again every single year? and then after the 5 years, you get 3 years before you have to go through all this crap again? Because that's what I'm kind of seeing. Um, let me see. It says requests they will renew the license if the individual requests the renewal by the end of the 60-day period that begins when the date the license expires, or B, in the 3-year period ending with the date the renewal is requested, has met the requirement of paragraph 1A2 1A. Oh yeah, so the same. So okay. So let's see. Back to where is it? So okay, has met the requirement of paragraph section 1A2 and 2 has successfully completed a training course certified by the. Yeah. So, okay, so I was fucking right. Like Jesus. Oh my God. In the case of a license issued under paragraph 1C in the 2-year period ending with the date the renewal is requested has successfully completed a training course. Oh my God. So to renew, oh my God. So if I'm understanding this correctly, you have to go through all of that bullshit. So one license, one psychological evaluation, one 24-hour class, then a second license for weapons, military weapons, then another 24-hour class, all of which probably cost you easily $1,200 to $1,600 to get the license, to own the firearm, and you have to pay monthly on an insurance policy for your firearms. And every year for the first 5 years, you got to do that again. And then our overlords will graciously, after the 5 years, allow you a 3-year period in between being raped by these laws. Then after 3 years, you have to do this again and again and again. So for the first 5 years, every year you got to save up just safely $2,000 for the privilege of keeping your rights. And then after 5 years, every 3 years, you have to pay $2,000 or so for the privilege of keeping your rights. And don't even think, and I don't even think that this would last that long. I think after 5 years, they'd be like, oh, no, this isn't working. We need to confiscate them. And then they'd be able to, because you had to register them and they know exactly where in your house they are. So I'm pretty sure this is probably the most terrible proposed law in history. Just, oh my God. And then it just goes to the term military style weapon. Any of the firearms or copies or duplicates of the firearms in any caliber known as. And then they go on to list every known possible version of any of the most popular and most fun guns. Jesus Christ, are you... What? Holy shit. Okay, I just saw this. The term military style weapon means pretty much the first like 7 or 8 lines are shit that you would expect to be on here because, you know, they go after the AR-15, the Uzi, Galil, blah, 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 Tech 9, and then revolving cylinder shotguns, such as or similar to... What? So a revolving cylinder shotgun. So I'm willing to bet if I scroll down, we're going to see revolvers are on here too. Because it says semi-automatic rifle, semi-automatic pistol, semi-automatic shotgun. Oh, okay. So I guess it doesn't have. But okay. But if it says revolving cylinder shotguns, who's to say that they won't misconstrue that and be like, well, a revolver has a revolving cylinder, so this is out. Basically, this entire list would make it so that any gun you own, unless it's a bolt-action pistol or rifle, you have to register and get all these licensing requirements for. It's disgusting. 1 year after the date of the enactment of this act, the Attorney General shall prescribe final regulations to implement the amendments. What the fuck? So, what? Please explain this one to me. So, after we saw earlier at the beginning of this, it said the from the signing of the enactment of this act, you have 3 months. You have 90 days to adhere to the regulations in this thing and send all your crap to the ATF. But they don't have to finalize any of these regulations and implement them within those 3 months. They have a year. You know what that means? That means that theoretically, you could do everything to the fucking T. Dot your I's, cross your T's on this. Send all your information in those 3 months. And then 9 months after that, the Attorney General changes something and finalizes some regulation that wasn't originally on there. And now you're a felon because it wasn't part of the original thing and wasn't finalized when you were required to send this crap in the first place. Wow. Wow. How can you say that the finalizing process has to be done after the requirements for me to comply? I have 3 months to comply, but you have a year to change stuff behind my back? That's ridiculous. It shall be unlawful for a person to possess a firearm or ammunition. So you can't even have ammunition unless you have a license. This is ridiculous. No, this is disgusting. Conforming amendments, elimination of. Oh God, jeez. This I don't even I don't prohibition on possession of certain ammunition. It shall be unlawful for any person to possess ammunition that is 50 caliber or greater. So all you dudes out there who spent $8,000 on a Barrett, nope, there's not even a license for that. There's not even an exception for that. Because it's not going on the NFA, from my understanding, and you can't get a license for it under this. You just gotta turn that shit in. Screw you. And they're probably never gonna pay for it. You spent $8,000 on that Barrett there? Yeah, nope, screw you. Turn it in. You got a Desert Eagle 50 AE? Turn it in. Screw you. We ain't paying for it. It should be unlawful for any person to possess a large capacity ammunition feeding device, large capacity magazines, or what we know them as, which is just plain standard capacity magazines. Nope. These make it prohibited. You can't even get a license for it because the king and queen deem it to be so. The rabble, you may not have these large capacity magazines and these the 50 caliber. It is prohibited. No, fuck you. Screw you, government. It's bullshit. No. Stupid. And of course, it doesn't apply, as you see in this next part, to law enforcement, the military, any of that crap. Oh, and it's for the possession by a law enforcement officer employed by such an entity for purposes of law enforcement, whether on or off duty. So if they're off duty, they could own whatever they want because they're above the law. But, me and you, we'd have to turn in our $8,000 or $2,000 handgun or rifles that are just happen to be chambered in 50, and that's it. We just got to turn them in. I mean, can you imagine if you customized a 50 caliber? Because I know there's people that do weird shit to their guns for no apparent fucking reason, and they do like, oh, let's do a a gold plating and engraving and stuff. So that $8,000 Barrett might now be like $20,000 or $40,000 because somebody wanted to do that to it. You telling me that you're literally going to take that item from this person because you make it prohibited and not compensate them? Well, you know what? I take that back. They might compensate you. They'll probably cut you a check for $600. I mean, in the government's eyes, that's reasonable, right? I mean, they gave you $600 for 8 months of being jobless. This is disgusting. So this is just terrible. I don't understand why this is even, but like I was saying before, I don't think that this is meant to pass. I think that this is meant to distract you. And while the reason I read it is to show you the ridiculousness of what they want to do, this is the ultimate goal. But this is not what's probably going to pass. Now it could, it's a possibility, but I don't think it will. But this is meant to distract you and show you what's not going on. They're trying to distract you from universal background checks, from closing the gun show loophole, from getting some type of registry going that won't be this. And one of those things is actually going on in New York right now. Right now, this is the other story. More fallout from New York's body armor confiscation bill, because we all know that New York just doesn't care about its citizens. Their government likes to make it easier for their citizens to kill each other and be killed, because apparently passive self-defense is now outlawed as well, right? So last month, we learned about a new bill in New York State Legislature that would not only authorize the confiscation of firearms and accessories from law-abiding gun owners, but would also outlaw the possession of body armor by civilians. Anyone owning body armor under the new law would have a short period of time to voluntarily surrender it, or would be confiscated as well. And the first offense would be a misdemeanor, and the second offense would be a felony. Yeah. After further analysis, it became clear that the law would also affect parents who have purchased bulletproof backpacks to protect their children in the event of school shooting. This has manufacturers of such products up in arms, along with the parents who have already purchased them. Huh, who would have thought? Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I said it. I said it when I first said something about this bill. I said that, what about the people who bought the bulletproof backpacks or whatever? And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if Republicans used children the way that the gun control advocates use children on this? Because the gun control advocates like to bring up children whenever it comes to guns. She's like, oh, think of the children, school shootings. Oh, it's the worst thing ever. Oh my God, like it happens all the time, even though it really doesn't. And it's statistically very small, almost, this may sound insensitive, but technically it's true, insignificant amount of gun deaths come from school shootings. But they use it to push gun control. Well, we can flip the script on that. We can be like, well, this law, you want children to die in school shootings? You want to make it legal to own soft body armor? All right, we could just flip the script. I mean, I don't see why we couldn't, but we don't really have to, because apparently the parents and the manufacturers are doing it for us. A New York bill aimed at confiscating body armor would also force parents to hand over safety products designed for school shootings. Dude, why are you distinguishing body armor over safety products designed for school shootings? Those two things are, let me let you in on a little secret. They're the same thing. It's the same thing. Body armor is the same thing as the stuff that's in these safety products for school shooting. It's bulletproof. You idiots. Honestly, a pastime of mine, a fun pastime of mine, is reading articles from liberal publications to laugh at them for stuff like this. just, I mean, after a while, it gets tiring. At first, it's funny, and then it just gets frustrating. But anyway, it goes on. Democrat Assembly Member Jonathan G. Blah, I don't care, wants to make New York the first state to outlaw bulletproof vests. But his far-reaching legislation would also end up seizing protective backpacks from students in Paris. 2 bulletproof backpack makers and 1 local retailer said the bill damages an industry created to protect children from school shootings. Yeah, because Democrats don't care. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They just want to push an agenda to obtain power. That's how it's been. And quite honestly, the Republicans are kind of the same because they don't do anything. They don't introduce bills that are positive. They just say no to everything that the Democrats propose. I rarely see a bill that is proposed by a Republican that does anything that gets passed. Besides spend more money. Like, that's why I think we should have a third party that's completely libertarian that just says make the government smaller and stop spending so much crap on shit we don't need. Oh, and let everybody have guns. That would be the best party, and I would be a proud member of that party. But as it is, I'm registered independent. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, really? Let's see. The fucking idiot. The assemblyman is sticking to his guns. He released a statement saying that bulletproof vests are used by those intending to protect themselves while committing crimes. What? What? So, okay, you know what? Okay, I agree. So, your private security, huh? Your private security that you use, no more bulletproof vests for them. See how long they want to protect you without bulletproof vests. See how long your city stays safe, or, I mean, it's New York, so it's not really that safe, but see how long it stays at a medium level of crime instead of super duper skyrocketing crime when you take bulletproof vests away from police because apparently they're committing crimes. He literally just demonized all police, all security guards. But wait, oh right. Because the hypocrisy of the left never ends. It's only for civilians. No. Law enforcement isn't included in this. Neither's security. Neither's private security. Only civilians. So he's calling all civilians who own bulletproof vests criminals. That means, apparently, I'm a criminal. Because I own a bulletproof vest. Now, granted, I don't live in New York, but based on what this guy said, I'm a goddamn criminal. No, screw you. And it goes on to say, oh boy. Oh, really? How does that position square with all the people who bought school backpacks that can stop bullets? Are they sending their little tykes off to the bus stop early so they'll have time to knock over a convenience store on the way? I actually didn't read past that gap. I didn't read past this point in this before I decided to cover this story. I didn't know that paragraph was going to be in there. Oh my god, that was funny. Because now I'm just imagining now I'm just imagining like a couple like kindergartners like holding up a convenience store with guns that are entirely too large. Oh dude, that's so funny. Oh my god. Okay. Whew. All right. While it should really go without saying, Jacobson's bill would turn an entirely new class of lawful citizens, parents who purchase such products for their children, into criminals. Yeah. There's also a law that would make it illegal to wear body armor while committing a gun crime. providing enhanced sentences for those that do. But why don't we just why not just do that one instead of the other one? Why completely outlaw it? Why not? Because quite honestly, outlawing the body armor won't do anything. I mean, how do you know who has it? You can make homemade body armor. I mean, like, how are you supposed to know? You know, what Jacobson doesn't seem to grasp is that criminals don't generally pay a lot of attention to laws and regulations because they're criminals. Yeah, duh. Okay, so this is just it's just stupid. I don't understand. Um, uh, why? Just the entire proposal is stupid. Body armor is not a weapon. The few cases where criminals have made effective use of body armor have tended to be in mass shooting scenarios. The vast majority of body armor regularly being used by people who are not in law enforcement or security work is employed by reporters going into really dangerous places, EMTs, and others whose jobs take them into dangerous neighborhoods or situations on a regular basis. If I was working as an EMT or a reporter and I was going to do a story in like Chicago, I'd have a compression shirt that had Kevlar panels in it, right? If I was going to New York to cover a story, I would definitely have body armor on underneath my clothes. But apparently, me covering a story on New York's riots or whatever, I'd be a criminal because of what I'm wearing. Yeah, this this is stupid. And think about it. We've seen laws like this being introduced at the federal level. Excuse me. Ooh, gotta wet that whistle. Um, but New York, California, they are test runs. They've always been test runs. Okay, they are what the anti-gun community wants to do for the whole nation, right? So they're trials. They're trying to see what they can get away with and how long it would take. California is actually more gun friendly than New York. Believe it or not. New York is so draconian. It's ridiculous. I think in the entirety of New York, there's one gun shop, and I think that one's closing down. Um, it's damn near impossible to buy a gun. It's almost impossible to get your concealed carry. I think in the entirety of Manhattan or New York, um, there's like 400 concealed carriers in a city of millions of people. That's how hard it is because you have to actually write the stupid sheriff and ask permission to exercise your rights. And they have magazine bans and all this other stuff. But the reason I say it's a trial run is because they've been getting away with it because the Supreme Court just doesn't hear these cases, or these cases don't get taken to the Supreme Court, so they're allowed to do this. And the longer they get away with it, the more likely they are to try and do it other places. I mean, just look at the bill, HR 127 we just went over. That is essentially one step closer to complete confiscation of stuff. Did you know airsoft guns are illegal in New York? You're not allowed to own an airsoft gun or a replica firearm at all. There was a story of this lady who got 21 felony counts. She's charged with 21 felonies for owning, I think it was like 18 or so airsoft guns and a couple inoperable replica firearms. But she was charged 21 felony counts. Now, I haven't actually looked at an update on the story, but I don't think I really need to because I'm willing to bet she's going to prison. Without help from like the NRA or something, I don't see why she wouldn't. Because New York sucks. That is why I will never visit New York or California, because I would not be caught dead in, well, actually, I mean, I would be caught dead if I went there, because, I mean, they're freaking crime-ridden hellholes. So I'd probably be dead if I went there. Yeah. So no, I don't think that there's much standing up to this. I think what's going to happen is they're going to amend this bill to say something akin to, depending on how the product is used, they're probably going to loop in, kind of like they do for law enforcement, an exception to kids' backpacks or something, but still ban soft body armor. Now, funnily enough, the guy who wrote this is so ignorant and idiotic that he specifically targeted. I don't know if he meant to, but he specifically only targeted soft body armor. So technically, you could still wear ceramic, poly, or metal level 3, level 4 plates because the bill specifically says soft body armor like Kevlar. So technically, if you want to get around it, you can wear those. But those are incredibly heavy. They're more heavy than soft body armor, and they're more expensive. So like I said, this whole thing is just ridiculous. And the fact is that this is just a precursor to what they want to do for the whole nation, So we'll have to see where that goes. Okay, so I have a comment that is asking about the 2021 Hearing and Protection Act. So I'm gonna see if I can look that up. 2021 Protection Act. Let's see, update date. 2021-22 HR 95 for the 117th Congress. This bill removes the silencer. Yeah, okay, so it was the silencer one. It removes the silencers from the definition of firearms for purposes of the NFA. It also treats persons acquiring or possessing a silencer as meeting any registrations and licensing requirements of such act. The Department of Justice must destroy certain records. The bill also revises the definitions of firearm silencer and firearm muffler under the Federal Criminal Code and includes such items in the 10% tax category. Wait, so it also treats. Hold on. This bill removes silencers from the definition of firearms for the NFA. It also treats persons acquiring or possessing a firearm silencer as meeting any registration and licensing requirements of such act. Well, but if it's removed from the act, why would it have to automatically treat you as if you had registered and licensed it? I mean, I guess it's just two sentences to like double up on the protection, but I don't know. Let's see. Introduced in the House on January 4th. It doesn't say anything about, let's see, actions. Let's see if there's anything here. It just says introduced in the House. So it doesn't look like it has done anything. Yeah, it's still just introduced. I guess they haven't. I mean, I wonder when are they going to vote? When will it, maybe I can find when they might vote for it? It says introduced. What's in the text? Or is this just the summary? Oh, this is the whole text of it. Okay, no. Yeah, so I don't know. Let's see. Be voted on. Let's see. Push to legalize status. Let's see. It's probably still just what is the hearing? I want to know what the status is. That's all I want to know. Okay. I guess it seems that the only thing so far is that it's been introduced, and it doesn't seem that they have done anything with it. I guess it hasn't even come up for vote yet, but I guess that's because I don't think they've gone into session yet. I don't know when they go into session, but I guess that's what's going on. Oh, dude, look at this nice tumbler that my buddy got me. My buddy got me this tumbler. My rights don't end where your feelings begin. Got it for Christmas. I like it. It's a good tumbler. Anyway, so yeah, I'll try and keep up to date with the Hearing and Protection Act, but I'm gonna have to wait and see what happens with it. But I don't see any updates on it other than the fact that it was introduced over a month ago and there's nothing new. Um, so okay, so guys, if you've been watching so far, we're gonna go into our last topic of the night, which is apparently you can be arrested for free speech and memes. Yes, I used to think that this was only something that happened in Britain or Canada whenever you made like a Hitler meme or a joke about the Jews or a joke about, transgender people or handicapped people or whatever. Because there have been instances in those countries where people were fined or whatnot. However, uh, this guy by the Douglas Mackey, also known as Ricky Vaughn. Ricky Vaughn was his alias on social media. I believe he ran a Twitter account and a couple other accounts where he would shit post. And this is United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, United States of America against Douglas, and complaint affidavit. This is the uh, complaint affidavit and arrest warrant. So, this guy, keep in mind, they're reaching way back into 2016 for the stuff that this guy did. Why is that? It's because Trump is no longer in office. So now they can go after anybody who they don't like. So, in or about and between September 16th and November 16th, both dates being approximate and inclusive, in New York and elsewhere, the defendant, also known as Ricky Vaughn, together with others, conspired to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate persons in the free exercise and enjoyment of a right and privilege secured. What? 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 How can that make how did they come up with that sentence? How can it be the free exercise and enjoyment of a right and privilege secured to them by the United States Constitution, the right to vote, in violation of Title 18? How can it be a right and a privilege? It is either a right or a privilege. It cannot be both. So either it's you have the right to vote or you have the privilege to vote. Those two things cannot be the same. It is one or the other. So right off the bat, I'm looking at this and going to retard file this. But go figure. Anyway, the source of your opponent's information and the grounds for her belief are as follows. I'm a special agent with the FBI and have blah, blah, blah. I'm responsible for cut, blah, blah, blah. Skip, skip, skip. Uh, let's see. Through my training, blah, blah, blah. It's just backstory on her. In or about 2016, Mackey, working with other individuals described in greater detail below, made coordinated use of social media to spread disinformation relevant to impeding 2016 presidential election. The disinformation spread by these individuals often took the form of memes. Mackey and his co-conspirators variously discussed and debated aspects of these memes, including their content, their formatting, and the timing of their release, and expressed a desire that the memes would influence the behaviors of those who saw them. As the election approached, Mackey, in conjunction with others known and unknown, spread disinformation about the manner by which citizens could and should cast their votes during the election. Conduct that constituted criminal infringement of the right to vote. Okay, so here they're saying it is the right to vote, not a privilege. So why did they say right and privilege? It can't be both. Pick one, man! So it goes on to say, basically this entire affidavit is basically just saying this guy and some other people made some jokes and memes online. The age-old joke, the one that comes up every election, which is, oh, you can text your vote to this number to vote for this person. If you're stupid enough to think that you can vote by texting, you deserve to not vote. I'm like, really? And they made some other memes that were like, vote on, I don't know, like, I don't know what the dates were back then. I don't care to look it up, but like, let's just use this election, for example, because leftists did it this year and they're not going to jail for the same shit, but, you know, hypocrisy and double standards and whatnot. So a leftist said the same thing that this guy said this year, which was like, you know, go vote for Trump on the Wednesday, the 9th or whatever day it was, the day after the actual election. She put on a Trump hat, put a Trump flag in the background, went on social media, and she was like, "Yeah, man, let's go out and vote for Trump. Vote for Trump. We're gonna vote for Trump on this day," and it was the wrong date. She was trying to get people to vote on the wrong day and pretended to be a Trump supporter to target Trump supporters. This guy did something similar back in 2016 with Hillary. But why is he facing a decade in federal prison, but the leftist that did it for our election this year is not facing anything, and in fact her videos are still up? It's because the left don't care about the laws. They don't care about equal treatment. They will go after you if you don't fit their political ideology. In fact, I am almost 100% sure that this live stream, once I'm done with it, will be posted and will be up for less than a day, and it will get taken down. I almost guarantee it. I already had one video taken down by YouTube for I don't even know what reason, for violating some disinformation about the election, and I don't even think in that video I discussed the election. So, you know, go figure. They'll take your video down for everything, just like they'll arrest you for anything. Free speech is going out the window. You have censorship. Trump was kicked off of social media before he was even kicked out of before he even left office. He was kicked off social media. You had the deplatforming of thousands of conservative voices. You had people who didn't even go to the Capitol riot that didn't commit any criminal actions being deplatformed. You had Parler, who was not only deplatformed, but their service provider even cut them off simply because they had an opposing viewpoint. There is no free market when it comes to big tech. And it's a similar thing, kind of like what we were talking about GameStop at the beginning of this stream. Big tech, GameStop, all these corporate elites, everybody. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Uh, it boggles my mind that, you know, I actually saw a quote that kind of entertained me and saddened me a little bit. I don't remember the exact quote, so I'll kind of paraphrase it. But it was some guy from the UK, and he said something along the lines of, Americans know that their government is corrupt, and yet they stand by and do nothing about it. They are the most free and the only ones who are able to be armed in the world to where they could take on their government, yet they stand by and do nothing. And they don't stand up to the crony establishment. They don't do anything about the corruption. They just let themselves be controlled. And he said something along the lines of, you guys need to get your shit together because you guys need to be the ones that help the rest of the world um, regain their freedom and do all this stuff. And I thought about it. I'm like, he's right. Why is it that nobody does anything? But then it's because of the life we live. The fact of the matter is, so many people are afraid of stepping out of line, whether it be speaking freely, whether it be um, uh, going against the grain of political correctness, because they're afraid that they're going to be ostracized from their communities, from their social circles, from all this other stuff. Um, they're fearful. I I'm not even gonna lie. I've been a victim to it too. I've done things that were politically correct specifically because they were politically correct. And quite honestly, I don't give a fuck about that shit anymore because I'm not that way anymore. But in the past, I've done that. And the reason is because we live in a first world nation. We don't want to give up any of our comforts. I mean, there are plenty of people who say they will do things that they won't do because they're too comfortable and they don't want to lose that comfort. And the saying goes, those that would, give up their central liberty for temporary safety deserve neither. I think it holds way too true right now. And I'm not advocating for like violent rebellion or anything like that. I'm just saying it's something to think about. Why is it that we continually reelect people who do nothing except hurt us? Why don't we have more people running for positions to get in and change the system for good, to weed out all this stuff? You know, I think that's kind of why I personally joined in on the GameStop thing, because it's kind of a non-violent version of a rebellion. If you think about it, when you're costing these billionaires that fund all of this swampiness in DC and with the world of finance, you're bankrupting them, and you're essentially ruining their lives without having to be violent. That's why I kind of really enjoy what's going on right now with the whole GameStop hedge fund stuff. Um, but I would prefer things not to go in that way. But I mean, look at this. Look at the what are you? Where are we heading? What's the inevitable conclusion when crap like this is happening, where you are making jokes and you're being arrested for it? What is the logical conclusion when you are told to turn in your thousands of dollars worth of firearms because no real reason? Where's the logical conclusion the uh, when the government is completely controlled by one party and institutes a ton of things, and you can't even get a legal conclusion done because you already know what the outcome will be based on the political leaning of those on the court? It's not it's unfortunately it is something to think about. It is not something that I want to think about. um Unfortunately, it's something that I think people should think about because this country is in a lot of trouble right now. I mean, with everything we've talked about today, the good thing is perhaps this GameStop rebellion thing may spur on some sort of large scale non-violent revolution that takes place, that nobody has to get physically hurt and the system can be changed and more people get elected in 2 years after they see all the terrible policies that get implemented. But I'm not I'm not an optimist. So you know. But anyway, let's end on a good note, I should say. I want you guys to think about all of the things I've said tonight and all the things we've gone over tonight. But on a good note, if you've invested in GameStop and you are still holding, you stand to make a good amount of money. And I think that you will make a good amount of money. So I think that you should continue to hold. And quite honestly, we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, this live stream's been going on for like 2 hours now, so I think it's probably time to get off. But yeah, if you guys enjoy my content, if you like what I do here, go ahead, like and subscribe. Liking the video will really help out. Subscribing really helps out. And if you feel the need to, if you want to donate, you can send money to my Cash App. That's really the only thing I have at the moment. Or if you want to get in contact with me, send Bitcoin, whatever. I don't really care how you want to do it. If you feel so inclined, you can go and donate at Biopilot17. And if you would like to, you can also follow some of my other channels. I have Biopilot Arms, which is another channel where I do some gun stuff on. I haven't touched that one as much because really politics is kind of my thing at the moment. But if you want to follow me on there too. But also, I post quite a bit of stuff on TikTok actually. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, you can follow me on TikTok. Also Biopilot17, and on Instagram, also the same. Anyway, guys, I thank you, and I hope you guys have a good night. See ya.